We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Welcome, everyone, to our Awakening Together Sanctuary on this beautiful August the 18th, 2024. So as Cindy plays the Awakening Together song, welcome you to greet everyone on the chat board, and let's begin. All right, thanks, Cindy. Well, let's begin by sharing our purpose and one of our 5 core values. We are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within the appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. And for today's homily, I've selected core value number 5. We accept all forms as temporary appearances permitted through enduring awareness of self. We live this value by honoring all appearances and all experiences while continually reflecting on changeless truth. So, I'm going to turn the mic back over to, let's see, we are going to do announcements first. Laura and all that shared are announcements coming up. So, join me now as we go in prayer. Thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you for the opportunity to gather together to focus on the oneness of the reality of who we truly are. And you're our guide. George knows nothing, but you know all. You are limitless. And George is limited. So let's just put George out of the way and let you share. Thanks so much. Amen. Well, our reading today is from Course in Miracles, lesson 135. And Judy Flassing is going to be our reader today. Go right ahead, Judy.
Thank you, George. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be the reader for my friend and walking buddy while I'm out here in Levita. As some of you know, but probably most of you don't, I am temporarily in Levita. And yesterday I asked Regina if I could borrow her deck this morning to do the reading. Her condo is right above George's, so hi down there, George. And Sean is right. Oops, almost lost my computer. Sean is right above me. And once in a while, Regina drops by. She was here all week, last week, for the John Mark Stroud retreat. So I'm in pretty good company. It has been quite a long time since I picked up A Course in Miracles. Probably, well, maybe even 30 years. So preparing to read lesson 135 this morning was like going back to see an old friend, a very dear old friend. The Course was my anchor and companion during some very dark days of my life. This lesson that we're sharing today is either the longest or the next to the longest lesson in the workbook. So I'm going to be reading only the first part of it. Workbook lesson 135. And this is the Foundation for Inner Peace edition. If I defend myself, I am attacked. Who would defend himself unless he thought he were attacked, and that the attack were real, and that his own defense could save himself? And herein lies the folly of defense. It gives illusions full reality, and then attempts to handle them as real. It adds illusions to illusions, thus making correction doubly difficult. And it is this you do when you attempt to plan the future, activate the past, or organize the present as you wish. You operate from the belief you must protect yourself from what is happening because it must contain what threatens you. A sense of threat is an acknowledgement of an inherent weakness, a belief that there is danger which has power to call on you to make appropriate defense. The world is based on this insane belief, and all its structures, all its thoughts and doubts, its penalties and heavy armaments, the legal definitions and its codes, its ethics and its leaders and its gods, all serve but to preserve its sense of threat. For no one walks the world in armature, but must have terror striking at his heart. Defense is frightening. It stems from fear, increasing fear as each defense is made. You think it offers safety, yet it speaks of fear made real and terror justified. Is it not strange you do not pause to ask as you elaborate your plans and make your armor thicker and your locks more tight? What you defend and how and against what? Let us consider first what you defend. It must be something that is very weak and easily assaulted. It must be something made easy prey, unable to protect itself, and needing your defense. What but the body has such frailty that constant care and watchful deep concern are needed to protect its little life? What but the body falters and must fail to serve the Son of God as worthy host? Yet it is not the body that can fear, nor be a thing of fear. It has no needs but those which you assign to it. It needs no complicated structures of defense, no health-inducing medicines, no care and no concern at all. Defend its life, or give it gifts to make it beautiful, or walls to make it safe, and you but say your home is open to the thief of time, corruptible and crumbling, so unsafe it must be guarded with your very life. Is not this picture fearful? Can you be at peace with such a concept of your home? Yet what endowed the body with the right to serve you thus except your own belief? It is your mind which gave the body all the functions that you see in it, and set its value far beyond a little pile of dust and water. Who would make defense of something that he recognized as this? The body is in need of no defense. This cannot be too often emphasized. It will be strong and healthy if the mind does not abuse it by assigning it to roles it cannot fill, to purposes beyond its scope, and to exalted aims which it cannot accomplish. Such attempts, ridiculous, yet deeply cherished, are the sources for the many mad attacks you make upon it. For it seems to fail your hopes, your needs, your values, and your dreams. The self that needs protection is not real. The body, valueless and hardly worth the least defense, need merely be perceived as quite apart from you, and it becomes a healthy, serviceable instrument through which the mind can operate until its usefulness is over. Who would want to keep it when its usefulness is done? Defend the body, and you have attacked your mind. For you have seen in it the faults, the weaknesses, the limits, and the lacks from which you think the body must be saved. You will not see the mind as separate from bodily conditions, and you will impose upon the body all the pain that comes from the conception of the mind as limited and fragile, and apart from other minds, and separate from its source. These are the thoughts in need of healing, and the body will respond with health when they have been corrected and replaced with truth. This is the body's only defense. Yet, is this where you look for its defense? You offer it protection of a kind from which it gains no benefit at all, but merely adds to your distress of mind. You do not heal, but merely take away the hope of healing, for you fail to see where hope must lie, if it is meaningful. A healed mind does not plan. It carries out the plans that it receives through listening to wisdom that is not its own. It waits until it has been taught what should be done, and then proceeds to do it. It does not depend upon itself for anything except its adequacy to fulfill the plans assigned to it. It is secure in certainty that obstacles cannot impede its progress to accomplishment of any goal that serves the greater plan established for the good of everyone. A healed mind is relieved of the belief that it must plan. Although it cannot know the outcome which is best, the means by which it is achieved, nor how to recognize the problem that the plan is made to solve. It must misuse the body in its plans until it recognizes this is so. But when it has accepted this as true, then is it healed and lets the body go. Enslavement of the body to the plans the unhealed mind sets up to save itself must make the body sick. It is not free to be the means of helping in a plan which far exceeds its own protection and which needs its service for a little while. In this capacity is health assured. For everything the mind employs for this will function flawlessly and with the strength that has been given it and cannot fail. It is perhaps not easy to perceive that self-initiated plans are but defenses, with the purpose all of them were made to realize. They are the means by which a frightened mind will undertake its own protection at the cost of truth. This is not difficult to realize in some forms which these self-deceptions take, where the denial of reality is very obvious. Yet planning is not often recognized as a defense. And now I am skipping to paragraph 18, which is a much loved and often quoted paragraph from the course. What would you not accept if you but knew that everything happens, all events, past, present, and to come, are gently planned by one planned by one whose only purpose is your good. Perhaps you have misunderstood his plan, for he would never offer pain to you. But your defenses did not let you see his loving blessing shine in every step you ever took. While you made plans for death, he led you gently to eternal life. Amen to that. And thank you, George, for selecting that reading and asking me to read it. I see the truth in those paragraphs much deeper now than I did 30 years ago.
And thank you, Judy. Thanks so much. And, I was so anxious to get into the homily that I skipped the first song, but if we have time, we'll play it afterwards. So, well, I was inspired to go to the Way of Mastery as an introduction here. I studied the course for several years, and then someone suggested a Way of Mastery. And the very first page just really struck me. It's a totally different personality that's flowing through the Way of Mastery. And it starts with, and now we began. And I'm just going to skip around a little bit, but greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. I come forth in this hour yet again to abide with you where you believe yourself to be. For in truth, if it were not for the fact that you are choosing to turn your attention to the world of physicality through the vehicle of the body, our communication would not require the device which you might call channeling. And of course, Way of Mastery was channeled through John Mark Hammer, nor the devices of technology of this world in which to record and capture spoken words that are themselves but the reflection of what the words would point your mind toward. And therefore, beloved friends, I come not for myself, but for you. I come not to teach you, but to love you until you choose from the depth within your own being to set aside every illusion you have ever given credence to, and to remember the truth, which alone is truth. Okay. What, the first time I read that, I thought, wow, that really speaks to me, and not so much in the words, but the essence of love that shines forth. So, so when I signed up to do a homily this quarter, I was given this immediately, the theme of acceptance. And so verse 18, what could you not accept if you but knew that everything that happens, all events, past, present, and to come, are gently planned by one whose only purpose is your good? So let me say it a different way. What could I not accept if I but knew that everything that happens, all events, past, present, and to come, are gently planned by one whose only purpose is my good? And so I encourage each one of you to reflect in that way. In the Bible, in Matthew 6:25, It says, therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, or what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? That's always spoken to me, that, we think we have to be the planner. And yet, and one of the reasons I think this lesson was chosen for me by Spirit was, this is kind of confusing. Uh, you know, uh, if I don't make these plans and protect this body, then who will do it? Well, it ain't me. It ain't me, babe. And so that's what this lesson is about. If I defend myself, and planning is defense. If I defend myself, I am attacked. So let's look at it again. Who would defend himself unless he thought he were attacked and the attack were real and his own defenses could not save him? And herein lies the folly of defense. It gives illusions full reality and then attempts to handle them as real. We live, as long as we identify ourselves as the personality, we live in a state of confusion. I like to say that George has lived in a state of confusion most of his life. I mean, what's it all about, Alfie? What is this life all about? And we're given a great gift here, this awareness that is within us. And we're experiencing that awareness through this body, through the five senses, through the sense of time. And yet, this is an illusion. It's not the truth, but we make it truth to ourselves by planning. This is what you do when you attempt to plan the future. Activate the past and organize the present as you wish. The only thing that's real is now. The past is gone. And yet we look at the past and we continually reflect on the past to give us the knowledge to focus on the present. And we look to the future to anticipate danger. How can we protect ourselves with the next instant and the next instant and the next instant? So we operate from the belief that we must protect ourselves from what is happening because it must contain what threatens you. I love this sentence. The world is based on this insane belief. So defense is frightening. The essence of this life, Henry David Thoreau on Walden's Pond said, men live lives of quiet desperation. So to put it in politically correct terms, men and women live lives of quiet desperation. We always have this sense of foreboding. What are we going to do? to protect ourselves from what we imagine may come in the future for us. And of course, we know the ultimate fear is that this body is going to cease to exist and we're going to die. Whether it's today or in the future. You know, there's a lot of people living to be in their 90s and hundreds now, but still yet, I mean, whatever your age is today, just think about it. How fast has this time flown by from the time that you were born until now? And of course, you know, I have this perception, and I think most people do, is the older we get, the faster it seems to go. Judy was reflecting on, you know, she's been here for a few weeks and she says, man, my time here is almost over. And she'll be moving on. So, but this lesson says defense is frightening. It stems from fear, increasing fear as each defense is made. So, what do we defend against and how? So let's consider what we defend. It must be something very weak and easily assaulted. It must be something made easy prey, unable to protect itself, and needing, you know, for George's defense. You know, this body is pretty feeble. It's frail. It takes constant care. But it is not the body that can fear, nor be a thing of fear. The body is just, you know, just imagine this is a meat suit that we put on for a period of time. And as we have this experience, we use this to participate in this illusory world. And at some point, it will be put down. We will transition to something else. The reality is the body needs no complicated structures of defense, no health-inducing medicine, and no care or concern at all. It's really the mind. It is your mind which gave the body all the functions you see in it and sets its value far beyond this little pile of dust and water. You know, the Bible says, from dust we were birthed, and to dust we will return. So I'm paraphrasing there. So the self that needs protection is not real. You know, what is the self? But placing the experience of limitedness through the limitlessness of eternity. You know, the spirit within us, that spirit that shines forth, looking inward, that limitless guides us if we're willing. And so, as a body, as a personality, we project ourselves out into the world. And I got to say, it's all good. It's perfect. You know, I mean, perfection is all there is. So the body is in no need of defense. It will be strong and healthy if the mind does not abuse it by assigning it roles that it cannot fulfill. The self that needs protection is not real. defend the body, and you have attacked the mind. You know, that's kind of a hard thing to grasp. If I'm protecting this body, I'm attacking the mind. These are the thoughts in need of healing. And the body will respond with health when they have been corrected. These thoughts have been corrected and replaced with truth. So a healed mind does not plan. It carries out the plans that it receives through listening to the wisdom that is not its own. And, we have many examples of that. You know, we're really blessed with, in this modern era of technology, we have access to masters, countless masters throughout the world here. Regina is a good example. I spent last week in retreat with John Mark Stroud. And, just being in their presence, feeling that energy of oneness and receiving the wisdom that comes through spirit, through them, points us in the direction that most of us here want to go. So a healed mind does not plan. It just carries out the plans it receives through listening to its own wisdom. And it doesn't require thought. You know, this is, I remember I had a college course. I think the title was something like, I think, therefore I am. And I think that's Descartes, I believe. So the body feels that thoughts are the way that it can plan. And yet, when you were born as a little child, you had no thoughts. You just had awareness. And at some point, that awareness was transferred into this sense of individuality and language, symbols for how we interact with the world. So planning is something that is not often recognized as defense. The mind engaged in planning for itself. It does not think that it will be provided for unless it makes its own provisions. I'd say every one of us has probably got some savings set aside for a rainy day, for our old age or whatever. And we think that it's our planning that has prepared us for the future. Some of us have done better than others, but that's the human condition. So the mind overlooks the present, for it rests on the idea that the past has taught enough to let the mind direct in the future. So we take all the experiences we have had. You think about, boy, if I were 20 years old again, at least if my body were 20 years old again, I would probably do it much differently, because I have had all these experiences that have taught me how to survive in this world. But there's no do-overs, at least not in this incarnation. Whether you believe in reincarnation or not doesn't matter. That's just another thought. The only thing here is right now. So anticipation plays no part at all, for present confidence directs the way. So I go back to verse 18, acceptance. What could we not accept? What could I not accept if I but knew that everything that happens, everything, all events, past, present, and future, are gently planned by that limitless spirit? You think about it. How are you going to have the best experience of now? Is it through your own thoughts, your limited experience of the world? I mean, we can look around. None of us have had the same experience. You know, our personality, the scientists, the psychologists say that, our value system, our programming is occurs in the first 7 or 8 years of our life. I'm not sure who said it, but someone said, you give me a child until he's 7 or 8 years old, and I present to you the man. So, you look around and you think, well, how can they believe what they believe? It's because they had programming. We're operating on a program of the first 7 or 8 years of our life. So let's focus. Let's focus on that inner wisdom that flows through us. Now, I've come to the realization that George doesn't really know anything. I know a lot of facts, but all of these facts are viewed through the programming of George, the world according to George. My world has been totally different than anybody else's world, and each one of you have the same experience. Your programming has defined how you see the world, from a standpoint of a child, really, and that's a good comparison, because we think that as adults we have some maturity and some understanding, but really, compared to the limitless wisdom of spirit, we're only a child, even regardless of how old we are. I think most of us, if we live long enough, we kind of go back into that childlike state. I'm not quite there yet, but who knows? So, your present trust in Him is the defense that promises a future undisturbed, without a trace of sorrow, and with joy that constantly increases, as life becomes a holy instant set in time, but heeding only in mortality. There was a thought given this past week that spirit is the state of neutrality. State of neutrality. So just imagine, as you're focusing on whatever's going on that grabs your attention in the world, as a person, we have judgments about it. This is good. This is bad. I like this. I don't like that. But what if you could just accept? What could you not accept? if you knew that everything that happens is for your own good. And so we make no plans on how it will be done, but realize that our defenselessness, and there again, this is the gist of this lesson. If I defend myself, I am attacked. But what if we can trust that Spirit in every instant is going to guide us in the exact perfect response to whatever comes along? Realize our defenselessness is all that's required for the truth to dawn upon our mind with certainty. And so, if I defend myself, I am attacked. But in defenselessness, I will be strong, and I will learn what my defenses hide. Heaven asks for nothing. It is hell that makes extravagant demands for sacrifice. There may be a disembodied experience of hell, whatever that means for you. But quite frankly, I think most of us recognize that there's hell on earth as well. So, and the very last of this lesson, this is my Easter time. And what does that mean? The Easter time is the rebirth. In Christian terms, it's being born again. It's being born again. And one of the spiritual masters of the day came to Jesus and asked about that. Well, can I go back into my mother's womb and be reborn again? I mean, he didn't understand, and he was one of the wisest spiritual leaders of his community. But Easter time, the rebirth, and I would keep it holy. I will not defend myself because the Son of God needs no defense against the truth of his reality. And so I think I'm done. So I hope you got something out of this. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Cindy, for a minute. Do you want to play the song, or do we just want to go into sharing?
We most definitely have time for the song.
Okay.
So anything you want to say about us being a church, and I'll get us situated.
All right. Thanks so much. We are a church, and we survive on your donations. So if you feel so guided, there's Cindy's going to place a link in the chat there. And thank you for being with us. Thank you for being part of our community. Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, that's one of my favorite artists there. I shall not want. Can you feel the love? Can you feel the love that flows through all of these wonderful expressions? So, we've got some time. If anybody would like to make a comment or share, go right ahead. And if not, we can go to another song. So let's do that, Cindy. Thank you, Cindy. Well, we still got a few minutes. Does anybody want to share? Or is that such a profound message you're just speechless? You know, I had the privilege of spending the week with John Mark Stroud, and he had a different definition for the Trinity that I've never heard, and yet it captures the essence of truth. So he shared the Trinity: I exist, I choose, I experience. I exist, I choose, and I experience. So think about that. Doesn't that encompass everything? We have this awareness, this conscious awareness, that consciousness of spirit. And awareness is what we place our focus on. So, and as we focus, we choose a response. Tina, I do see your hand up. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to say that I love the reading that you read. I've tried to do Course in Miracles, God knows how many times. I have both books. And I'm just grateful that that book led me to Awakening Together, where some things started firing off, because I don't know. I just trust the spirit that when I'm ready, I'll be able to understand it. So I roll with that. But what I got, what hit me in my heart is I hold these pictures, these little bit of pictures. The only picture I have of my mom, and I can't even see her face, but she sits here. And what's funny is you mentioned that I went through this the fear retreat recently, and I went through Jacqueline's I Am Bad retreat, and all these things, all these nouns. Let's say I like to call them nouns. All these nouns that have been built around the first 7 years of my life that has kept me in such a cage. The true Tina hasn't been able to be out because she's been in a cage for a really long time, a safety cage, right? A fearful, I am not worthy cage. And even though the ego has been lying for a lot of years to tell her she's been fine, she's just tough and brave, and it's all crap, George. And when I heard that, what you read of the Course in Miracles, it really reminded me that I took this photo down, I grabbed it and I looked at it, and I usually keep it here because it keeps me safe, right? So I look at it and I go, never again. No one's going to do that to me. No one, right? And today I took it down and I thought, no one can do that. There's something different in the perception of this. And I'm not sure what it is. I don't feel self-pity. I don't feel anger. It's going to be an inquiry, I will tell you that right now. But I'm grateful because I'm grateful to reach an emptiness when I look at this. And to know that that's not me, right? That what things happen to, or whatever happened, is not who I am. And it has very little to do with that, and but what a journey it takes to unveil the fear, to unveil the anger, to unveil all the different labels and nouns that have been put around this false sense of identity to protect another false sense of identity. It's kind of wild, right? And I know I don't have, not even close, but still willing to keep digging, And George, the other thing I just wanted to say is I'm learning that I'm already there. I'm already awake. The ego doesn't want me to say that, but it's already here. It's never left me. Awareness and awakening has been me the entire time. And as someone told me, it was to me. I used to think it was an angel in the closet helping me. And this beautiful lady said, "You ever think it was you? It was your true self lighting your way through that." And I had a fear when you said that. I didn't know I had, and I'll end with this, is that there's a fear that I'll never escape that born through 7-year-old stage of emergency, 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 emergency. Run, 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 survive, 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 survive. But I'm here, and I believe God brought me here, and I'm willing. And I love you guys, and thank you for that. You know, because of you, I'm not afraid as much anymore. So that's all.
Thank you, Tina. Yeah, we are so blessed. You know, of all the billions of people in the world, there's only a small percentage of people that even have exposure to these teachings. And so I'm so thankful that we have found the symbol that points us toward the ultimate truth. Let's see. It looks like our time is up here, and I'm going to turn it back over to Cindy, and then we'll go into our fellowship.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.